Whatever the hour, whatever the film or the Eurovision drama, it's coffee time. This is Emmanuel calling from Coffee Break, where we take a break and discuss about films, Eurovision, and much more. Grab yourself a mug of hot tea or coffee, take a sip, and let's dive into this. Let's talk about the Oscars. So I'm going to be going through my Oscar predictions for Best Picture, Best Director, and the acting categories, and hopefully in a coffee break further down I'm going to cover all of my Oscar predictions for the tech categories and screenplay and basically the rest of the categories. So this is me yapping about the Oscars. These are my early predictions of the 98th Academy Awards. So without further ado, let's start with Best Picture, shall we? This coffee is so good. Also, this mug I have right here has lightsabers that light up when hot liquid is poured into it. Do you like it? Thanks. So at number 1 I have One Battle After Another. Let me pull that up. And yeah, I mean, it's the obvious frontrunner as of right now. Well, obvious because I think that the films that I have following One Battle After Another also have a fair chance of winning Best Picture. But I mean, One Battle After Another is made such a splash critically, with casual audience members. It was a big hit, and it's more than a hit film. It has artistic merit and political messaging, social commentary. It doesn't really attack any major ideology, but it definitely has a more audience friendly approach to its direction and the messaging. So it also has a lot of acting prospects, and it's a Paul Thomas Anderson film. He has never won any major award. I mean, he hasn't won an Oscar. So this could be the time to have him be nominated and potentially win in some categories further down that we're of course going to delve into. I'm looking at the screen right now where I have all of my predictions, and yes, I think One Battle After Another, it's a fan favorite, and it has a lot of traits that a lot of Best Picture films have. I mean, it had a universal embrace. It's a brilliant film, obviously. The only concern I have is that it might not jive with far right people. I mean, obviously Ben Shapiro didn't love this film, but as I said, I don't think that it preaches its audience. I don't think that it has an agenda, so to speak. And then at number 2, I have Hamnet, which I have not seen, and I don't think I'll be able to see until February, I believe. It has it has had distribution in my country, but not until 2026. So I might have to wait a little while to solidify my beliefs of this film's Oscar chances. But it looks like from the reception from festivals and the praise that it has received, that it's going to go big in the upcoming Academy Awards. It also has a lot of acting prospects. Chloe Zhao obviously won picture, director, actress. Her film was obviously very successful back in 2020. I'm, of course, talking about Nomadland. And this film is a period drama. Yes, I think that it's probably going to do very well. I don't have it at number one right now for picture, but I mean, if one battle after another drops somehow, I don't know how that's going to work out, but yes, I think that it's definitely in the top three of contention. And then we have Sinners, which also, very much like One Battle After Another, make a huge splash, both with critics and in the box office. It's a more... It's less... I don't want to say it, but it's more of a genre film. That's what I was trying to communicate. And I could definitely see this winning Best Picture. It doesn't have the acting prospects that the films following this have, or the director branch support that I also think the previous two films definitely have. But it does remind me of Everything Everywhere All at Once in that it has genre elements. This one is sort of a horror hybrid and Assault on Precinct 13 Carpenter-esque plot with vampires. And that doesn't typically win Best Picture or is nominated, but this film, as I said, reminds me of the universal appeal that Everything Everywhere All at Once had, and it does have critics backing it up as well. So, and it sort of has this reputation of it being a horror film that sort of is a little bit more than that, even though because I'm a horror fan, obviously I don't believe in these terms like elevated horror or, this not being called a horror film. I think that it's debatable whether it's a pure horror film. I don't think it is, but because it also has a lot of pseudo-musical elements which work for the film. I mean, I do think that it's an excellent film. I didn't love it as much as One Battle After Another or a few other films that we're going to be talking about, but I think that it has a serious chance of definitely getting nominated and potentially winning Best Picture. And then Sentimental Value, I had it at number one for a little while, and it has the biggest, along with One Battle After Another, it has the biggest, I would say, acting prospects. I could see 3 or 4 acting nominations for this film, and the director and screenplay one. It has definitely a lot of Oscar buzz, obviously, a lot of prestige. It won the jury prize, I believe, in the Grand Prix, or whatever it's called, in Cannes. It's a foreign film. It's a Joachim Trier film. And I could see it definitely getting nominated and potentially winning an acting prize for Stellan Skarsgård, which we're going to talk about further down, obviously. It's good coffee. The hype around it just has fizzled a little bit during the few months after the Cannes Film Festival, but I still think that it's a top 5 contender honestly. I've seen the film and I love it. It's a beautiful film, but I don't quite see it winning Best Picture anymore. It could surprise, obviously, but I mean, I used to believe that it could win director. That's not going to happen. And with Sinners, I believe dominating the number one frontrunner spot for original screenplay, which Cinema Value is in contention for, also doesn't favor its chances at winning Best Picture. But again, I do think that it's getting nominated and potentially winning Best International Feature, which I shouldn't have spoiled. But anyway, we'll get into that much later. Moving on to Marty Supreme. Haven't seen it. Josh Safdie. His brother had a film that we're going to talk about a little bit in this video, The Smashing Machine, which I just watched and reviewed, and I thought was excellent. But Marty Supreme is obviously the more Oscar baity, well, not Oscar baity, but the more the more accessible to the Academy Awards film of the two, and not to compare them too much. I obviously have not seen it. It's not going to be available until January, and of course, when I'll watch it, I'll review it for you. I'll try to at least, and then I might have a clearer picture about this film's chances at the Oscars. But from what I've heard, from what I've read, I think that it has a lot of acclaim and acting prospects, but potentially a Best Actor win, which we're going to talk about as well. It's a period film, I believe. I've heard that it has insane production design and editing, and it just feels like I just feel that it's going to be one of those very prestigious films that a lot of people are going to embrace. And I wish I could analyze my standpoint on this film more, but I haven't even watched the trailer, so I could be talking out of my butt. But yes, I think that it's definitely getting nominated for Best Picture. I don't think it can win. Earlier on in the year, I thought that it had a better chance, but yeah, I mean, it could surprise, but it could go other ways, you know. It could be like a Babylon, which did get into the Oscars, but more in the below the lines categories. Didn't get even close to Best Picture. But that film also was a box office bomb. And Marty Supreme, it's A24. I don't think that it's going to have to climb that hill. At number 6, I have Wicked for Good. The first Wicked film did excellently in the Oscars and won a few below the line categories. Could we see an acting win for this film? Potentially, yes. Could we see a Best Picture nomination? I would say, I think that I'm comfortably putting this in. I think that it's a major contender for a Best Picture nomination, and a lot of other below the lines and a few above the line nomination as well. Could it be a flop because it's a sequel and not a first film? It is a sequel, but it's the second part of the film. It's the second half. It was shot back to back with the previous film, and it's the same cast, the same people behind it, the same crew, director. So we don't have a, a solid reason to believe that it's not going to be as good or even better than the previous film. So yes, I think that it's again comfortably sitting in my best picture predictions. And then it was just an accident. I am planning to watch this film very soon, hopefully that all works out, and I can't wait, honestly. It won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. It has a lot of prestige. Jafar Panahi is hugely supported by the director branch. He could get nominated, and we gotta throw in a few foreign films, I mean non-English films in this. So yes, it was just an accident. Just seems like a fair call, a fair assumption to make. Again, I can talk more because I haven't watched it, so I'll have to move on. At number 8, I do have a House of Dynamite for a few reasons. First of all, I think that it's, if not the strongest, it's definitely if one of the strongest Netflix films when it comes to award potential. It's Catherine Bigelow directing another politically relevant and politically charged film. Her previous film, Detroit, I believe, was called, didn't quite do very well at the Oscars, but The Hurt Locker won Best Picture, Director, and Zero Dark Thirty was nominated for a bunch of awards. So, and I mean, this could be this year's September 5 in that it could just get a lone screenplay nomination, but I don't think that it's going to happen because last year was just a different year, and I think September 5 was very, very close to getting in Best Picture. Excellent film, by the way, September 5. And yes, I could see a House of Dynamite squeaking in. And then Frankenstein I have at number 9. I was very, very, very hesitant putting this in, and I barely have it in. But at the same time, it's Guillermo del Toro. His last film, Nightmare Alley, was nominated for picture and a few below the line categories, which is super rare. But it seems like they love del Toro, and this again could get a Best Picture nomination and no other big nominations. Even though I think that it does have one actor potentially sneaking in, but we're going to talk about this as well. Again, Bradley Cooper could have been nominated quite deservedly. He's terrific in Nightmare Alley, but that didn't happen, and the film still got into Best Picture. So this is one of those rare films where if I have it in Best Picture, I don't quite have to also have it in director, screenplay, actor, actress, and all the other major awards. It can just get picture and then a bunch of below the line technical categories, which I think that it's a fair move at this point, because this award season is already all over the place, especially when it comes to Netflix contenders. This is another Netflix film, and between this and House of Dynamite and Jay Kelly and Train Dreams, I think it's amongst the strongest ones. And because it's Del Toro, so there you go. And then at number 10, I have Avatar: The Way of Water. Excuse me.
Avatar Fire and Ash. The Way of Water was the previous entry. A lot of people seem to be doubting this. I don't. I have never doubted this film's potential for a Best Picture nomination. Barely getting in. I've always had it at number 10 throughout the entire season thus far. But still, I think that it's definitely, comfortably in contention for a Best Picture nomination. It could go much like the previous entry, The Way of Water. It could get picture, visual effects, production design, and that's about it. But it could pull it off, and it's probably going to be a box office hit, a major one. And it's a new Avatar movie, it's an event. A lot of people are doubting this because can they just nominate every single Avatar movie for Best Picture? Why not? But seriously, because I love those films, and the previous two were just beautiful, beautiful films. And this one is among my most anticipated of the rest of the year. And we just have to throw in a few blockbusters here, don't we? And thus far we have Wicked, Sinners. I don't think that was a surprise hit, wasn't it? So yes, Wicked and Avatar Fire and Ash, I think, are the two blockbusters that have the biggest Best Picture prospects. And in a field of 10, I think Avatar has a fair chance of getting in. And then I'm briefly going to go through the rest that I believe also have a chance of getting into Best Picture. I obviously don't have them in at this point right now, as we speak in October. But no other choice. I just barely have it out because it could just get Best International Feature, potentially director. It's one of those. It's a very strange situation with those foreign films because, for instance, Another Round just got international feature and director, I believe, which is odd. But because it's an international film, it can have this sort of outcome. And no other choice could be that film this year that might get international feature and potentially an adapted screenplay nomination, and that's about it. It's not really a majorly accessible film from what I've heard, because I've also have not seen this. And Park Chan-wook's last film, Decision to Live, was also not able to get into the Oscars, unfairly, because it's an excellent film. And no other choice could be another mild flop, a moderate flop, because even if it gets like 1 or 2 nominations, I think that it's going to be a win for Chan-wook Park. And that's all I'm going to talk about. No other choice as of right now. And then Train Dreams, I think that it's a major contender here. It's a Netflix film, it's an artistic project, very artistically prestigious, and I could definitely see this squeaking through and getting in picture in like slot number 9 or 10. This could definitely surprise, and it also has a few other nomination prospects up its sleeve. So I think that it's a major contender, And then Springsteen Delivered Me From Nowhere. I also have not seen this. It's coming out in 2 weeks, so in a couple of weeks. So I hope I'm going to be able to see it. I have lost faith for this film a little bit when it comes to its Best Picture chances, but when it comes to acting prospects, this film is definitely one to watch out for. And despite its silly title change, where they put Springsteen before the Deliver Me From Nowhere title, that sort of makes it a bit second rate, or at least it gives off that impression, which is not the best thing to have when you're trying to get into Best Picture. But you know, a title can't really hurt the chances of a film getting into Best Picture, and it shouldn't. And this film is in contention. I'm just trying too hard to see it, and I just can't have it anymore. Anyway, I've talked way too much about Springsteen. J. Kelly, it seemed like it would be an easy call, but right now, with all the mixed and lukewarm reception that it has had, I could definitely see this getting into the Oscars, but just not in Best Picture, unfortunately. Haven't seen it, so can't comment. And then The Secret Agent, could this be this year's I'm Still Here? I'm kind of over this argument because we just can't have a Brazilian movie being nominated every single year just because I'm Still Here happened and it was big. At the same time, it could be this year's I'm Still Here, and it could be like a deja vu moment. I could see Wagner Moura. Well, we'll get into that later. But it has definitely had the reception, and I just don't want to fall into the recency bias trap here, because this has happened times and times again. So I think that it is in contention. And I mean, it's a neon film and they have other priorities right now, no other choice. Potentially sentimental value, obviously. And then it was just an accident. They have a lot. And The Secret Agent could just miss out. And then, is this thing on? Bradley Cooper's new film hasn't had distribution yet. But I mean, it's Bradley Cooper, and Maestro was big. A Star Is Born was big. That doesn't mean that he's going to be nominated for every single one. That every single one of his films is going to be over nominated. But is this thing on in a weak field? Potentially, if some other films drop out of the race, it could definitely inch in at slot number 9 or 10. And it has mild acting and above the line prospects. I don't think that it has any technical prospects, unlike, for instance, J. Kelly or Springsteen or Train Dreams even. But again, it's a Bradley Cooper movie. You just can't write it off completely, can you? And then Begonia, I have not seen. I'm obviously very excited and curious to see it. I mean, it's the new Yorgos Lanthimos film, and he's Greek, I'm Greek, so we have that in common. And if it's a big critical and audience hit and does well at the box office, it could inch in. I don't think that it's a major contender when it comes to Best Picture as of right now. And then the voice of Hind Rajab definitely want to look out for. But then again, we already have our non-English contenders here, and those are definitely more strong. But if it gets into international feature, it could get like a double nomination picture and international feature. That's where I think that its nomination ceiling is. But then again, it has had very good reviews. It's obviously very relevant to the current climate, and it does have a lot of support from festivals, and I think that it's one worth looking out for, but it doesn't seem very likely as of right now. I still have it in though. And then Nuremberg could be like one of those films that comes and goes, that seems like it could be an Oscar player, but eventually turns out to be nothing. And this could be this film. I do have it actually at adapted screenplay, a potential nomination. I don't have it in my top 5 as of right now, but that field is extremely weak. So I could see like a picture adapted screenplay combo. And this could happen because this could be one of those films that it's a historical film, a period drama that comes out late in the awards race, November or December, whenever it comes out, and it could be like that, one of those last minute squeaking through because it's Oscar bait film. And can that happen? Sure. And then the Smashing Machine I just reviewed. Very, very strange, off-kilter film. Could it get into Best Picture just with potentially actor, supporting actress, and makeup? And then picture? That seems like a weird combo, but hey, those things happen. You know, it's not entirely impossible. And having seen the film, it is very not audience friendly, which could hurt its chances. But then again, it's very artistic, it's very prestigious, has acting prospects. It could squeak in, I think. But as of right now, it's extremely, extremely unlikely when it comes to the competition that it has to face. But as I said, it's in my top 20. This is a microphone, by the way. I hope it's not too distracting, but I've had some feedback about my sound, and I'm all about evolution. So, moving on to director. Let me pull that up. Surprisingly, because I have One Battle After Another in number 1, slot number 1, and Paul Thomas Anderson has number 1, he would be the safe pick when it comes to a Best Director win. But I have Chloe Zhao in, because when it comes to Best Director, I have Chloe Zhao at number 1 for a few reasons. First off, she's a woman. I don't mention that derogatorily. In fact, I think that it would be beautiful to have some female representation in the director category. Get that XX chromosome going on. And she's a recent Oscar winner for Best Director. Could that hurt her chances? No, I don't think that it would. Recency doesn't calculate negatively when it comes to Oscar chances. And I think that Chloe Zhao could actually, I think that she's the current frontrunner for winning Best Director. I do. And one ball after another, Paul Thomas Anderson obviously is a close second, number 2. Marty Supreme, Josh Safdie. Well, let's talk about a little bit about Paul Thomas Anderson. He has never won. Has he been nominated? Probably. But he hasn't won an Oscar, and his film is probably winning Best Picture. It's the current frontrunner anyway. He could definitely be winning, and I'd be pulling my hair, and I might switch it up. Okay, it's recording. I might have to switch it up later further down this award season, but as of right now, I'm feeling like taking a risk, and I think that Chloe Zhao is a major contender here. But then again, I have seen one ball after another, and PTA would be a deserved winner here. His direction is off the charts, and I haven't seen Hamnet. But as I said, Hamlet I think has a fair chance of winning Best Director. And then Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, I think that he is comfortably getting nominated. Could he win? I don't think so. I think it's between Chloe Zhao and Paul Thomas Anderson at this point. But is he getting in? Yes, he is. He's definitely getting in. And then Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value. I still have him in. I don't think that he's winning. I don't think that we're going to be looking at a Joachim Trier win. But we have to throw in a few of our non-English friends here, and I think that Joachim Trier has a lot of potential of going big in the upcoming Academy Awards. His film is very easily getting into picture 3 or 4 acting categories, and it seems like an easy call for him to getting in director. I think it's happening. I think he's getting in director. I've obviously seen the film, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful film, and he has the acclaim. He just won the jury prize, the Grand Prix at the Cannes Film Festival. He's prestigious. The director branch supports him. He's in. And then Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident, also an easy call, I would assume, because obviously he's supported majorly from fans, critics, directors. He's such an icon. At this moment, he has right now a resurgence, or like an exposure to the mainstream after his film winning the Palme d'Or, and he seems like a Robert Östlund or a Thomas Vinterberg. So yes, I think that It Was Just an Accident has that picture, director, international feature, also potentially also original screenplay package pretty firmly at this moment. And then at number 6 I have Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein, because he's del Toro and because Frankenstein is at this moment in my top 10 for Best Picture predictions, and the Academy loves him. It's a Netflix film. I don't believe we have a Netflix film in the director category. I mean, I don't. So he could be the one to surprise, to inch in. Will it happen? The film is not that Oscar baity. It is because it's Del Toro, but but it's also a genre film, and has had a modestly divisive. I mean, it's mostly positive, I think, but it's not like a universal embrace. It's more of a mild universal embrace for Frankenstein. As of right now, hasn't been released widely. And at number 7, I have Sinners. A lot of people are very, very confident that it's going to happen, but I can see this snub coming from a miles away. I mean, Ryan Coogler is a well-respected director. He obviously did an excellent job in this film, and he does have that one scene, you know, the one I'm talking about, where it's directed so stunningly. And this film is also a very, very strong, has a very strong chance of winning Best Picture, honestly. But it just feels like those snubs when it comes to less cinephile director. I don't want to say mainstream, because yes, Ryan Coogler is obviously very mainstream, but that doesn't mean that we've had mainstream directors and genre filmmakers getting nominated, but him directing 2 Black Panther films and 1 Creed film, in generally speaking, franchise IP films dominating his filmography, and this being his first original work, I think that it's excellent. I just can't see it. It seems too safe, and it seems like a Villeneuve for Dune or Dune Part 2, whatever, and like a John M. Chu for Wicked. I just don't see it, guys. I'm sorry. And then Park Chan-wook for No Other Choice does have a chance, but just if that film doesn't get into Best Picture, he could get into director. It could just be like a international feature director screenplay combo package. It could happen, but seems very unlikely, especially when both Cinema Value and It Was Just an Accident are both Neon films, and it's Neon's top priorities as of right now, I believe, when it comes to Oscar campaign and push. So Park Chan-wook could surprise, definitely. I don't think that it's impossible, but it's not very likely as of right now, is it? And then I'm going on a limb and having the Secret Agent director, I can't remember his name, unfortunately, at number 9. He definitely could surprise, but then again, could we have like a Joachim Trier, Jafar Panahi, and director from Secret Agent, all of them, and it's a Neon film as well? It doesn't seem very appealing as a very attractive as a prediction to do as of right now. But I don't think that it's entirely impossible. And yes, I mean, right now I have a solid top 5. I think that those are safely in. And then Jay Kelly, Noah Baumbach. Ever since that film didn't have a glowing reception at festivals, and it has had a very lukewarm and a little bit divisive reception, he's out of not completely out of the race, but I have him out of the 5 at least, because prior to this, because even though he's not like his films are not famous for their direction, it's mostly a screenplay praise. this could have been his moment to be nominated if this film overperformed and got into picture, director, actor, all of the above the line categories. But right now that its Oscar chances have severely weakened, I think that he's not completely out of the race, but he's not anywhere near my top 5 as of right now. Moving on to... let's do actress, shall we? Let's do actress. I have Jessie Buckley at number 1 because her performance in Hamnet is very much so praised to the high heavens. And sure, I think that this seems like it's going to be her moment, and I can definitely see it happening. And then at number 2 I have Cynthia Erivo, for a lack of a better number 2. I think that she is probably going to win an Oscar for this film, but in original song, and that's going to dominate her awards reward. That's going to be the end, hopefully, because okay, I'll get into that later. I think that she's winning an Oscar for this film, but in original song rather than best actress. She could get snubbed. I can definitely see that happening because this is such a fluid category, isn't it? But right now she's the only one I sort of can see winning here. And then, but hopefully she doesn't, because she's mocking Jesus Christ in the latest version of Jesus Christ Superstar. She's portraying Christ, which I think that it's not cool in my book. But she obviously has a brilliant voice, and she was very, very good. She was excellent in Wicked Part 1, which she was nominated for. So if she's as good in the second half, she would be a deserved nominee. And then at number 3 I have Renate Reinsve. After seeing the film, I think that her chances are slightly reduced due to her absence of large portions of the film, and I do think that her work is very strong and she's very good in the film, and she could definitely be nominated, especially since she didn't get in for the worst person in the world. But I just don't think that she's comfortably in. She's safely in, but she's not a definite lock. I think right now the only lock is Jessie Buckley and potentially Cynthia Erivo. And then number 4 I have Amanda Seyfried. I had her at number 1 for a little while, and then after The Testament of Anne Lee's, mixed reaction. I think that her chances have reduced. I could see a resurgence for this performance, to be honest, and if she's as crazy and as insane and big as they say, I think that she's comfortably getting in. I think that Amanda Seyfried is definitely getting nominated. I just don't see her winning. And then at number 5 I'm going on a limb and having Kate Hudson. I had her at number 10 for a long time, and now I've moved her to number 5. I think that it's going to be one of those performances where it's in a musical biopic of sorts, I believe, that comes out late in the year, and it's one of those last minute things that just happens, and the fluidity of this category just warrants this type of last minute uh, risk when it comes to predicting it. So I have her at number 5, and she's a sort of a veteran actress. She's nominated only once, and now she's definitely trying to get back into the awards race, and I think that it's happening. And then number 6, I have Emma Stone for Begonia. She's a definite contender here. I think that I could easily see her getting in. You know, when you have those after 5 that you have those other people and nominations and potential films that could be nominated, and you're like, yes, I know I have these 5 that I'm locked on, and those other ones are just sort of floating around. No, Emma Stone is, I could right now switch her with someone in here and have her at slot number 5, for instance. And I could definitely see another nomination. Had she been campaigning in supporting actress, I could see her looking at a 3rd Oscar win, honestly. But right now that it seems like she's in lead, I think that she has a very fair chance of getting nominated, just not winning. So that's about it. I mean, she's big. She's in a Yorgos Lanthimos film. She has shaved hair, makeup. She's Emma Stone. I mean, what else do you want for her to be a major contender? And then number 7, I have Chase Infinity. She was excellent in One Battle After Another. Her age could hurt her chances a little bit. Also, her status as a newcomer could also hurt her chances at getting nominated. I could see BAFTA going for her, Golden Globes, and a lot of other pre-Oscar precursors. And she would be a deserved nominee, and now that she's not in supporting, that path has cleared for her, because that category is mostly dominated by Teyana Taylor and potentially Regina Hall, which we're going to talk about very soon. And right now it seems more likely that she has a chance. And if the film is winning Best Picture, then she could definitely be in contention for a nomination. And then number 8, I have Rose Byrne. Again, those actresses, it's just so close, isn't it? I could definitely like right now switch up Rose Byrne with any of the ones that I have in my top 5, except for Jessie Buckley. It's just so fluid, isn't it? I mean, she's definitely in contention. Could she be like a Nicole Kidman in Baby Girl of this year, or which didn't get in, or a Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, which did get in. And Rose Byrne is, I think she's going to be campaigning very strongly in the months to come. And her performance, even though the film hasn't had the best reception, has sort of had mixed reviews, her work is just praised to the high heavens and above. So she could definitely surprise, or not. She wouldn't surprise me if she got in. And then number 9, I have Laura Dern for Is This Thing On? As I said, if the film squeaks in at one of the final slots in Best Picture, which could happen. I mean, Bradley Cooper had Lady Gaga and Carey Mulligan get into Best Actress, so Laura Dern could be a contender. And then at number 10 I have Sydney Sweeney for Christie. I think that she's a contender. After the film being premiered in festivals, I have lost a little bit of my faith because I also think that she's a extremely, incredibly strong contender here. But her status as a Hollywood star, a movie star, could hurt her a little bit. I've heard that her performance is transformative and she's in a biopic. She's playing a boxer. That just screams Oscar buzz, doesn't it? But as I said, this field is extremely open and unpredictable at this point, to be honest. Moving on to Best Actor. Sorry. Okay. Timothée Chalamet is my current frontrunner to win the Academy Award for Best Actor for his performance in Marty Supreme. He almost won last year for A Complete Unknown. Obviously, the trophy eventually went to Adrien Brody for his extraordinarily brilliant performance in The Brutalist. He was just... that performance, man. It's one of those performances where you're like, yes, he's winning. You can't just give that performance and not get an Oscar. He was that good. So good old Timmy could have his moment in 2026. I haven't seen the film, so I can comment, but it seems like it's going to be his time. His time is coming, I think. And then at number 2 I have Leonardo DiCaprio, who he's the only one of the rest that I could also see winning. I think that One Battle After Another is going to have one acting win, and if Sean Penn isn't winning, which I think he is, which we're going to talk about later, then Leonardo DiCaprio is winning his second Oscar. But if Sean Penn wins, Leonardo DiCaprio, I just can't see both actor and supporting actor win for One Battle After Another. I just can't see that. So I have him at number 2. He would be a deserved Oscar winner. He's terrific in One Battle After Another. And if the movies win Best Picture and Sean Penn's snubbed, then Leonardo DiCaprio could definitely get the Golden Trophy. And then number 3, we have Jeremy Allen White for Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. It's a musical biopic. Could this be A Complete Unknown of this year? Recent bias, but call me biased, but I don't care. This seems very, very likely. He's getting in, definitely. And could he win? Not sure. But he's comfortably in Best Actor. Doesn't have the Best Picture prospect that A Complete Unknown had or other. And I believe Rami Malek is the only actor who has won for a musical biopic. The rest have just gotten in very comfortably but haven't won. Austin Butler, Elvis, Timothée Chalamet, obviously, for Bob Dylan, for his rendition of Bob Dylan, and Rami Malek won for his rendition of Freddie Mercury. He was going nuts in that film. And Jeremy Allen White, it seems like his work is going to be more subdued. But I mean, he's wearing contact lenses, right? And his face is going to look a little bit different. Major Oscar push there. So yes, comfortably in. And then number slots number 4 and 5 fluid as all hell. I have Michael B. Jordan at number 4. I was doubting him strongly, violently doubting him for a long time, but right now that slots number 4 and 5 have sort of cleared up, I could see him being like those dual roles don't always get nominated, right? But the movie is potentially winning Best Picture Sinners, and the other actors and actresses just don't have the same. Well, that's not true, because Delroy Lindo also has the narrative to be nominated, but Michael B. Jordan, I would say, is the biggest, the most likely acting nomination for that film. And if the other ones aren't getting in, like Delroy Lindo or Miles Keaton or Yami Musaku or Haley Steinfeld, and I mean, it has to have at least one or just one acting nomination. Yes, Michael B. Jordan could pull off a Nicolas Cage in adaptation nomination where he played a dual role. So that's not impossible, and we have to have some black representation in actor, and I think that, I mean, I don't see BAFTA going for him, but SAG definitely, Golden Globes obviously, potentially Critics' Choice, but I'm not sure. Maybe not Critics' Choice. I don't know. I'm not a precursor expert or a Oscar expert for that matter, but I think that he could get snapped in one of those precursors, and then we would all be scared of his chances, and I could definitely see him not getting in. But I have him at number 4 right now, and then number 5 I have Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. I think it's happening, honestly. His performance is receiving a lot of positive buzz. Richard Linklater is coming with 2 films this year, and I seriously hope he's not the Luca Guadagnino of 2026, because obviously neither Challengers or Queer got into the Oscars, and I just don't see that happening for Richard Linklater. I think that Ethan Hawke's performance, the comments that I'm reading, that he's big and Oscar worthy and compelling and funny, it's screaming Oscar nomination. So I have him at number 5, and then number 6 I have Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. Don't want to fall into the recency bias trap, as I said with The Secret Agent, even. Could he be the male Fernando Torres? That it's way too reductive. It's reductive. It's not. What? When has that happened? We can't just assume that he won Best Actor in Cannes, but again, Jesse Plemons won Best Actor in Cannes for Kinds of Kindness, and that didn't go anywhere right beyond Golden Globes. So Wagner Moura has the narrative, he has the film, which could get into Picture Director, but not likely. Definitely into Best International Feature. Could I see a Best Actor, Best International Feature combo? Definitely could. I have him at number 6, and we're moving on. Number 7, I have Dwayne Johnson for The Smashing Machine. I just watched it. He's terrific in it, and a lot of people are doubting him unfairly, and a lot of people are way too optimistic, blindingly optimistic also. I have been in both ends. I had him at number 5, barely in, but firmly in for a little while. Now that I've moved Ethan Hawke, I think Ethan Hawke is a stronger contender than Dwayne Johnson, but he's very good in the film. He could definitely surprise. He could definitely inch in and coattail, or Emily Blunt coattail him. I could see that sort of the Apprentice combo. I'm of course talking about the Donald Trump biopic from last year. I mean, I could see like a switching Michael B. Jordan with Dwayne Johnson at number 4. That's very tempting. But then again, Wagner Moura and Michael B. Jordan, as I said, have their chances, all of them. You know, I haven't updated my predictions since watching the Smashing Machine. Michael B. Jordan, man, just never seemed quite right, has it? I'm keeping him in as of right now, but Dwayne Johnson, definite major contender here. He has makeup. Does Michael B. Jordan have prosthetic makeup? He doesn't. That immediately makes him less of an Oscar potential Oscar nominee. And then number 8, I have George Clooney. He's kind of playing George Clooney, which reduces his chances. But then again, this film is all about celebrating George Clooney's career, and he's had a lot of praise for his performance in Jay Kelly. If the film, I mean, I don't think the film is overperforming anymore, but I could see like there's definitely going to be either a lone nomination for Jay Kelly or a combo. What that combo will be, I have no idea. Right now I'm predicting original screenplay, score, and supporting actor. But could I see a lone original screenplay for Jay Kelly? Sure. Could I see a screenplay, actor, and score? Sure. Could I see a lone score nomination? Sure. It's all over the place. But George Clooney, definite contender. I mean, SAG is going to eat him up. He's definitely going to get into SAG and Golden Globes, potentially Critics' Choice. I mean, I don't know. He's a contender. And then number 9, I have Jesse Plemons. He's majorly praised for Begonia. I've heard that he's nuts and extremely compelling in that film. Haven't watched it. Could I see Begonia not getting at all into the Oscars? Definitely. Could I see just a lone adapted screenplay nomination? Again, yes. Adapted screenplay and actress? Sure. It's one of those things where I don't think that I just can't put him in if the film is not in Best Picture. Again, if the film makes a splash in the box office, people, Yorgos Lanthimos is back and all of that, which he never left, but I guess Kinds of Kindness was kind of a flop for a lot of people, myself included. I didn't love that film. But he's Jesse Plemons, and he hasn't had his big moment yet. I mean, he was nominated for The Power of the Dog, but if it's like a picture, actor, actress for Emma Stone, adapted screenplay, score, cinematography, that seems like a likely package if it at its best day. Let's put it that way. So Jesse Plemons, a serious contender, just not in for me right now. And wrapping up the Best Actor category, we have Daniel Day-Lewis for Anemone. I seriously thought that he was comfortably in, but I don't think so anymore. after the sort of wishy-washy reception of the film. Haven't watched it. Very excited, extremely pumped to see it. Looks very much so up my alley. It looks very artistic though, and and very cinephile and sort of meditative and all of that. Just the Oscars, on the one hand, they don't really embrace blockbuster films, but then again, if a film is too weird and too niche, then their Oscar potential is severely reduced. But then again, it's Daniel Day-Lewis we're speaking of. Of course, he's a highly acclaimed actor. He's won 3 times. He hasn't been nominated for every single one of his performances. It's not like he's getting in for everything. But it's his first role after his supposed retirement, and I've heard that he has 4 or even more monologues in the film. That just seems like such an easy nomination, doesn't it? I think that he's a very strong contender, but I don't have him in as of right now. Why? Maybe the film is too weird or too niche and too artistic for awards voters, but then again, they're going to see Daniel Day-Lewis on their screener cover, and they're just going to pop that disc in, and they're going to stop watching halfway through. I could see Golden Globes going for him, BAFTA. I could see a BAFTA nomination there. Could SAG bite? I'm not sure, and that kind of hurts his chances because a lot of voters at SAG overlap with Oscars. Then again, BAFTA has had a fair streak when it comes to overlapping with their nominations, and I mean, it's Daniel Day-Lewis. You can never write him off, can you? Especially with a film that came out after his supposed retirement and has 4 monologues, and it's Daniel Day-Lewis. You just can't. I think it should be illegal to not have him in. I mean, you must be out of your mind to not have him at least at number 10, if not higher. So yes, Michael B. Jordan, I have him in, but I could see Wagner Moura, Dwayne Johnson, and Daniel Day-Lewis definitely taking his place. Potentially Clooney or Plemons, and Michael B. Jordan is obviously my number 4 right now. But I've really honed in on my doubts of Michael B. Jordan, but that's unfair because I think that he's excellent in Sinners. He really is. He's very good. And he has the narrative. And the film could win Best Picture. And I don't see Delroy Lindo, Wami Mosaku, Miles Gates. Oh, we've been through that. Haley Steinfeld getting in, even though all of them would be deserved nominees. And no acting nominations for Sinners. That could happen, but come on, we have to move on. And then we move on to Best Supporting Actress. This is driving me nuts. Okay. Ariana Grande is probably looking at her first Oscar win. I know that sounds weird to state out loud, but Jennifer Hudson pulled that Oscar win off for Dreamgirls, and granted she wasn't that much of a successful, well-known pop star, highly famous artist the way that Ariana Grande is. But she's a supporting actress in a musical that's in Best Picture, and she's probably going to be as brilliant as she was in the previous film, because I think that last time around she was number 2 at winning. She almost won for Wicked Part 1. Of course, Zoe Saldana deservedly so won that in that ceremony, because she swept and she was big, and it was Zoe Saldana's time, and Ariana Grande was obviously a much less of a contender. But this time around, I just can't see 2, potentially 3 Oscar nominations for Wicked. The 2 of them, including 2 that are basically repeat nominations, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande being nominated twice for the same role 2 years in a row. That would be unprecedented. And I think that one of them could pull off a win, and right now I just can't find a more compelling alternative for this category. Who's going to win Best Supporting Actress? Who else? And then from slot number 2 to slot number 10, it's all over the place. Just kidding. I do have a few other locks. Elle Fanning is very good in Sentimental Value. She's excellent in that film, as is... I'm sorry. Just a second. There. Inga Ibsdotter Lileas. I'm just going to call her Lileas for the rest of this portion of the video. She was even better, I think, than Elle Fanning. Granted, Elle Fanning has much more recognition. She's a much more of an overdue actress, even though she's extremely young. But it seems like she's had her snubs over the past few years, but it seems like has had a lot of snubs, and this is definitely her time. Sentimental Value, big awards player. I think her and Lileas getting both in at supporting actress, I think that it's definitely... Is this a risk? I think that it's actually a very, very reasonable assumption to make. So right now I have Ariana Grande, Elle Fanning, Lileas, all 3 getting in. I mean taking Ariana Grande out because she's in a different movie, but Elle Fanning and Lileas, I think that they're both getting nominated. And then Lileas, I think, is also comfortably getting in. She's excellent. She's even better than Elle Fanning is. Granted, Elle Fanning has much more recognition, again, but I can definitely see both of them getting in. Sentimental Value is a big awards player, major awards player. Yeah, I think that both of them are comfortably in. And then Teyana Taylor for One Battle After Another, definitely 1 or 2 potentially supporting actress nominations. She's in the first act of the film and then she disappears and we never see her again. But her presence is ever so felt throughout the rest of the film, and that just skyrockets her chances at a nomination. She's obviously very good, very compelling and gripping in this opening hour of the film, in the first act of the film, basically. And again, if One Battle After Another is winning Best Picture, I could definitely see at least one supporting actress nomination. And I think that between the two that we're left with, since Jason Finty has moved to actress, Diane Taylor seems like the safe pick here, and I can say this. I can definitely say it. And then at number 5, I have Amy Madigan for Weapons. Lovely Aunt Gladys. I personally think that this is almost a lock. She's getting in. She's in. First off, she has makeup. First off, she's a veteran actress that has been nominated once for Best Supporting Actress. It's been a while. Secondly, Weapons was big. I can't see that getting entirely dismissed and the Oscar doors being completely shut for Weapons. And she's the only, debatably, the only person that could be nominated for that film. And thirdly, she has makeup. She has makeup, and I can picture her Oscar clip. It's going to be her crying with makeup, and she's in a horror film that had a box office splash and awards and a critics claim. She just seems like the Demi Moore of 2026. And I mean, I would have never predicted Demi Moore to get in this time around last year, and then she almost won. So you can never write those performances off completely. Then again, she could be like a Toni Collette or Lupita Nyong'o, one of those horror performances that are unfairly snubbed, sadly. But then again, she has makeup. Did Toni Collette or Lupita Nyong'o have makeup? I'm not sure. So I have her at number 5. Golden Globes, I could see like a Globes snub there, which doesn't mean that much because I can definitely see a SAG nomination, potentially Critics' Choice or BAFTA. And just one SAG nomination is enough, honestly, to get a person, especially in the weak field that this category is in the Oscars, especially when you're an actor, because it's the Screen Actor Guild, it's SAG, it's the actors, and she's a veteran, and she has makeup. Number 6, I have Emily Blunt for The Smashing Machine. She could definitely be coattailing Dwayne Johnson. Just reviewed the film. She's terrific in it. Honestly, she kind of raised my hopes for The Smashing Machine. Could it be like The Apprentice type of situation plus makeup? That plus makeup doesn't hurt it at all. This could definitely be a very, very reasonable thing to predict. Honestly, I could switch Emily Blunt with Teyana Taylor, and that wouldn't be that much of a stretch. But then again, Teyana Taylor, she's in a Best Picture winner, potentially. And Emily Blunt is in a film that is probably not going to get nominated for Best Picture. I have it at number 20, but that's not anywhere near at number 1. I think that she's a major contender. And then Odessa Azion for Marty Supreme. the young actress from that film. Haven't seen the film, but this kind of gave me some Aviator vibes. I haven't seen the Aviator, but that is a 3 hour sort of period biopic. Grand March Spring, I don't think that's a biopic, but it is a period film. And the Aviator had Kate Blanchett nominated, right? Didn't it? And she's getting rave comments and high praise for her performance, her supporting performance in Marty Supreme. And could she be coattailing a potential Oscar winner for actor Timothée Chalamet? She definitely could, and I am not writing her off at all. I just don't have her in because the film isn't out yet, widely at least. And I mean, it's the first time that I ever heard of that actress, and maybe that's unfair. Maybe she is that impressive in the film, and I could definitely see her getting nominated. Honestly, I just can't do it right now because I have too little. I have too little to chew on. So moving on, at number 8, I have Regina Hall. Now we're out of number 5, but as I said, this is such an unpredictable and weak, honestly, field, the supporting actress. So could I see a double nomination for supporting actress for One Battle After Another? I could definitely see that. Then again, you can't have Leonardo DiCaprio potentially winning, Sean Penn also potentially winning, and then 2 actresses and 2 actors in supporting actor. I'm of course counting Benicio del Toro, which we're going to get into, and he could also surprise. And between him surprising and Regina Hall surprising, I think that Benicio del Toro has a better chance of surprising. I don't have him in, but then again, you can't have 2 actresses from sentimental value and 2 actresses from One Battle After Another. And between the 2 girls, I think Regina Taylor is the strongest contender here. But could Regina Hall surprise? I could see her getting in at Golden Globes, BAFTA. And then if she gets in at SAG or Critics' Choice, or neither really, just a Globes nomination and BAFTA, and then the Oscars, if, God forbid, Lillias or Elle Fanning, but probably Lillias gets some, but I don't think so. I think that Lillias is comfortably in right now. So maybe if Amy Madigan turns out to be just a silly assumption to be a nominee, and she completely drops off the race and gets snubbed, and one of our sentimental value girls doesn't make it, Regina Hall and either Emily Blunt or Odessa Azion don't happen, Regina Hall is in. She's in. I didn't mention her in my review, but she is excellent in that film. Just terrific. But she has a smaller role, and it's not as prominent as Teyana Taylor's part. And then number 9, I have Wumi Musaku. I'm terribly sorry for consistently mispronouncing her name. I thought that she was very good, very compelling in Sinners, and off of every other actor or actress in this film, excluding Michael B. Jordan, I think that she has the stronger chances, and between her and Hailee Steinfeld, she definitely has more chances, even though Hailee Steinfeld is also excellent in Sinners and would be a deserved nominee. I think Wumi Musaku has a meatier and more emotionally resonant role in the film, so she she does have the more impactful part, and so if she's coattailing Michael B. Jordan, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And then number 10, I have Jennifer Lopez for The Kiss of the Spider-Woman. I don't think have, I've had her out, I think, at one point, but I think that she's firmly in 10th place, which obviously doesn't count, but she's not completely off. I'm not writing her off. Obviously, I think that Golden Globes potentially are going to go for her. SAG is definitely up for a Jennifer Lawrence nomination, and a lone SAG nomination can get you as far as the Oscars, and considering the weakness of the field right now of this category and the recent snub, well, not that recent, but her snub for Hustle, was that film? I've never seen it, but she was supposed to be a major contender and then she didn't happen. Kiss of the Spider-Woman, haven't seen it, but it's Lionsgate and they don't have another film that could potentially get into the Oscars, and I have Kiss of the Spider-Woman in another tech category further down. So could that happen for Jennifer Lawrence? Absolutely. And finally, Best Supporting Actor, I have Sean Penn at number 1. He could be like a Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. He could be like a Christopher Waltz. Basically a villainous performance that is brilliant, which is what Sean Penn is in One Battle After Another. He's terrific. That wins the Oscar. And he already has 2 Oscars, but so what? I mean, he can win. I mean, One Battle After Another is probably getting Best Picture, and if that happens, I can definitely see just one acting win, and either Sean Penn or Leonardo DiCaprio one of them is definitely winning. So if it's not Leonardo DiCaprio, I think it's Sean Penn. I just don't see neither of the two winning unless Diana Taylor pulls off a Best Supporting Actress win, but I don't think that that's a high possibility. So yes, Sean Penn quite deservedly he's my front runner for Best Supporting Actor, but Stellan Skarsgård is my close second. He's obviously like 100% getting in, but I could see a SAG snub for Stellan Skarsgård. And as I said, Sean Penn just is in the potential Best Picture winner. Stellan Skarsgård is in sentimental value, top 5 contender. And does he have an Oscar? No, he doesn't. Does he have a narrative? Yes, he does. So, is he an overdue actor? Of course he is. He's a definite candidate for a Best Supporting Actor win, and he's obviously brilliant in sentimental value. Such a compelling performance, honestly. And then at number 3, I have Paul Mescal for Hamnet. Definitely seeing him getting in comfortably. He's coattailing Jesse Buckley. It seems like he's in supporting, because had he been in lead actor, I could be having him at number 1. But right now, it seems like he's going to campaign for supporting actor, and that he's probably going to be coattailing Jesse Buckley, and that just seems like a safe and honestly extremely reasonable assumption and pick and prediction. So I have him comfortably in number 3. And now number 4 and 5 slots, have no idea. Honestly, I have Adam Sandler because at number 4 because I think either him or Clooney or both potentially are getting in, and Adam Sandler is definitely in for a Globes SAG nomination, which is enough, honestly, and he's definitely an overdue and has a narrative, and I don't know. I mean, his performance didn't get that explosive of a praise that I was hoping. So I could definitely see him missing out, but I have him at number 4. And then number 5, I have Jonathan Bailey for Wicked, for Good. Almost said Wicked, which is kind of hilarious. Jonathan Bailey is obviously a very attractive man, and he was one of my favorite parts of Wicked, the first film, and he got a surprise SAG nomination there. Could he be coming along for the ride for the second part? That could definitely happen. I mean, I could definitely see like a downfall of the Wicked for Good doubt, and the film gets over-nominated, not in picture or screenplay, but it gets a surprise supporting actor nomination, potentially Ariana Grande winning. I just can't see basically the same was nominated for adapted screenplay last year. Even if it was, I don't think that it's happening. So, and now I digress. I think Jonathan Bailey is a strong contender, and if Wicked for Good gets a big reception, and if Wicked for Good goes big and it makes a lot of money, which it's probably going to do, and if critics are praising it as much as, or people are getting universally behind it as much as the first film did, then I could definitely see him inch in. He's not a safe pick, I think. I think that I'm probably going on a limb here, but because of a lack of a more reasonable alternative, more compelling and attractive alternative, I am picking Jonathan Bailey. Plus, he has reportedly a more prominent role in the second half, and maybe I'm biased because I deeply like Jonathan Bailey, but sure, I mean, if Ariana Grande is winning and Cynthia Erivo is getting nominated, and Wicked is a big Best Picture nominee, even if it doesn't get into director and screenplay, which I don't think that it does, it just gets a few other tech categories beyond the nominations that I mentioned, I can definitely see Jonathan Bailey sneak through. And then at number 6 I have Jacob Elordi and then at number 6 I have Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein for a few reasons. First off, Frankenstein I have it in at Best Picture as of right now, so could we see a director potentially or an acting nomination? I don't think Oscar Isaac is quite there, or any other actor or actress for that matter, excluding Jacob Elordi, who I think is a definite and major contender here. I can definitely see him, and I'm tempted honestly to switch him with Adam Sandler. So Frankenstein for me right now is not extremely likely, but it is an potential Oscar nominee, considering the fact that I have it at number 9. So for me, it is. So I think that it's happening, basically, for Frankenstein in Best Picture. Barely. I'm doubting it. I'm viciously, violently, brutally doubting it. But then again, I have it at number 9, so I can't defend the doubt that much. So Jacob Elordi is in a potential Best Picture nominee. His performance was widely praised and acclaimed. He was a name that I kept reading and hearing about when Frankenstein first premiered in Venice, I believe. He's Jacob Elordi. He has a similar status with Sydney Sweeney, where they are sort of the movie stars of the Gen Z generation, the Generation Z, and the new movie stars. And he could have his big moment here. So he's in a potential Best Picture nominee. Secondly, he was widely praised and acclaimed. He was the one name that I kept reading and hearing about after Frankenstein premiered in Venice, I believe. And he is a beloved actor. So I could definitely see that elevating his chances, much like Sydney Sweeney in Christie, who I also think that is a major contender. And finally, can you guess which is the third reason I'm having him right now at number 6? You guessed it right. He has makeup. He's covered, buried after tons of prosthetics and makeup. He's in. He could be. I have him at number 6. I just can't have him quite in right now because I can't have both Amy Madigan and him in. And the thing is that Frankenstein could easily be nominated for Best Picture and not get into any other major category, and then of course get into a lot of and slay in the tech categories. I'm not suggesting that it could get a lone picture nomination. I think that that's out of the question for any film in the current world. So at number 7 I have Benicio del Toro. Could definitely see a surprise here, a surprise nomination for Benicio del Toro. Quite deserved. It would be very much so deserved. He's very good and likable and extremely watchable in the film. But he's such a memorable role, but he's such a memorable presence in that film, and the film is potentially winning Best Picture, so I could see like a double acting nomination, either in supporting actress or supporting actor. I'm not predicting either right now because Benicio del Toro could be the Willem Dafoe of 2026. I'm of course talking about his brilliant performance in Poor Things that was snubbed, and Mark Ruffalo got the gig instead. But Benicio del Toro he's potentially in. He could surprise. And then at number 8 I do have Delroy Lindo. He has dropped off in my mind from when the film came out. If one actor has a strong chance of getting into into the Oscars from that film, I think that it would be Michael B. Jordan, and that's why I have him at number 4 in his category. And Delroy Lindo definitely has a narrative and an overdue narrative and a recent Oscar snub on his back, and that could definitely upend his Oscar chances. And he's very good in the film. He's excellent in Sinners. I know I've praised to the high heavens, it seems, all the performances in Sinners, but they really are very good. And but the second half sort of has him take on a more comic performance, which he nails. And I'd love for Delroy Lindo to get in. I think that it's a performance that doesn't get in the Oscars, but it should, because it's that good, and it would just be such a refreshing and inspired nomination for Delroy Lindo. He was of course recently snubbed for The Five Bloods, which I have not seen, but a lot of people are describing that performance as an Oscar snub. So he has all that going for him. But I have him at number 8 because I think that the other contenders are much stronger. And then at number 9, I have William H. Macy for Train Dreams. Again, Train Dreams could surprise. I have it right now. I have it as a lone cinematography nominee right now, but I could definitely see it getting into picture and adapted screenplay, and potentially an acting category either. Well, I obviously didn't have Joel Edgerton in my 10 for actor. I don't see that happening, but William H. Macy in a supporting role, he's a character actor, and his performance is very much so praised. I'm eagerly looking forward to watching Train Dreams, and he could pull it off. I think he I do get a hunch that he could sneak in. And then at number 10, I have Jude Law finally for The Wizard of the Kremlin. It seemed like that film has sort of dropped due to the IMDb score for me, because I haven't really read or heard much about that film after it premiered, but the IMDb score is dangerously low. But then again, he is portraying Vladimir Putin, and after The Apprentice happened and Sebastian Stan got in for his brilliant performance as Donald Trump, I can never write off an actor with makeup. Granted, not that much makeup, but he does have some sort of work done to his face and in his hair and the way that he looks, portraying a real life person in a sophisticated film, as it seems. I mean, the director has made a few films that are very unpopular, but this could be the first nomination for a film of that director, and I can never write off contenders like this completely. And Jude Law, he hasn't been nominated for a while, and this could definitely be the time to nominate him again. And that is a wrap. Thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Also, make sure to follow me on multiple social media platforms, including Letterboxd for more film-related content, and the Awards Expert app for real-time Oscar predictions. The links are in the description. Can't wait for more coffee breaks. And until next time, pour yourself a fresh one.